Back up. One baby bear. Baby.
No!
Baby. I can't get in the car. It's locked.
Oh, get around the other side of the car then.
Baby, come here. Baby, come here.
Get him.
That was devastating. So there you see these folks in Wyoming attacked by a deer that was in their driveway. A couple of dogs run out, decide to confront, and then looking to save her dogs, that lady gets hit pretty well. And in case you were tired of hearing the screaming, I'm gonna tell you why it kept going. So this was happening mid-morning on Thursday. Wanda Kanor, the woman there, stepped out to take her husband Daniel to an appointment. She goes, there was this buck sitting there, just laying there. Probably surprised that you guys popped out as well. And the main thing that popped out was their little dog that startled the buck. And he's like, what the hell is this? He looked to attack. And they said, of course, the buck didn't like that when the dog came after him. So he went after him with his antlers and shoved him underneath the car. I felt like he kind of escaped. I thought that was a decent move by the little dog. But that's when she also fought back and decided to try and do something to save her dog, which we've seen before in these bear videos. People shoving bears off of their walls in their backyard. And I'm like, hey, you can have that dog. Sorry, that's just me. The 4-point buck thrust its antlers into Wanda Kanor, goring her with 7 puncture wounds. It's devastating. The buck knocked her to the ground, crushed a vertebra in her back. That's when her husband came out and saw what was going on. His name is Daniel, and he got punctured by an antler along his waistline. Those things are no joke. Wanda, who's badly hurt, got out of the way, and the UPS driver had just delivered a package across the street. So he lifted her into a car, and a neighbor drove her to the hospital where she's gonna be for several days in a rehab center, is what her husband said. This one got more serious. We've seen ones where, like I mentioned, the hero shoves the bear off the lattice or the wall in her backyard. Dogs are saved, facing off with bears. As long as you stand big and scream and get rid of all your sweets, you're gonna be fine. Bro, I got family that's down in Louisiana, in the country in Louisiana. And there was one point we got home late at night and there was an adolescent bear that had been hit by a car lying in the street right in front of their house. I was like, so when is our flight? Is it today or is it later today? Because I don't deal with that stuff.
Obviously, you want her to be okay, but also I'm a bit confused, like about just everything they did, like not going back inside, trying to hit the deer over the head with a purse, like. I mean, that you just don't hit an animal, period. Like that's going to make them unhappy, and they don't know what's going on. They're just living outside because that's where they live. If it's in your driveway and your dog startles it, just go back inside for a minute or toss some food on the other side of the yard. Maybe it goes away that way. Just never hit an animal, and certainly don't try to like fight it. Grabbing the antler is a bold move, though. I was surprised by that.
Yo, listen, I feel like sometimes, maybe there's even a thought process for me. When you see a deer or you see a buck with antlers, you're like, what a majestic animal, what a beautiful figure. Look at those antlers. Bro, those are there for a reason, and they're dangerous, and they're potentially deadly. I mean, she got gored 7 times. This is some serious stuff. It's like getting stabbed. And this thing, we see it, look at the skinny legs, looks like he's clumsy. These things are strong. They're made for certain things. Look, I think the dog got away. Bro, it's time to go back in the house. It's time to go back in the house. And again, I don't want it to seem like anybody's victim blaming. I'm literally getting pains in my rib cage right now from what they had to go through. And look, her husband doesn't look like he's been in a fight with a buck before. Like, what's your approach? It sucks, man. It's sad. I hope everything works out for them in both of their injuries. But one more piece about this, because of what happened in their front yard. The buck wandered around to their front yard, hung out in the shade for a couple of hours, and a relative notified Wyoming Fish and Game. Maybe you guys were wondering this. And a wildlife officer euthanized that same buck. And wildlife officials do that after an animal has had a violent encounter with humans. Even if it's as random as this and unplanned and not attacking anyone, when they confronted him, bad moment, wrong place, wrong time type of thing.